All right, guys. So this the real deal on this at this panel. For everybody that know them, there's no fluff, there's no fake. This the real deal sitting up here. I was telling them in the back, we real picky about who we bring to the stage. How many of you guys got kids in here? So y'all real picky about who you bring around your kids, right? So this the same way I feel about that. They gotta be checked. They gotta pass the sniff test. We not bringing no fraud up here. If they end up being fraud, they wasn't fraud when I checked them out. All right. So this the real deal here. They really doing numbers. They really do this. That's one thing about social media. People will sell you a dream on social media, and you find out they wasn't about nothing. So this the real deal. So I definitely want to give y'all a disclosure on that. And they're going to add as much value as they can. We're going to do maybe 7 or 8 questions and answer, and then we're going to go into a question and answer for the audience. So let's get it going. We're going to start with you, Nel, since you're right here. So if each one of you guys can tell who you are and what you do, and we'll start off with that.
Testing.
There you go.
Testing. My name is Ronel Thomas, but from social media, y'all know me as Nel Famous. I own a business called Two Famous Studios, and we specialize in marketing and content creation. Specialty is personal brand, so not really restaurants, but more of you want to build your personal brand, grow, and set yourself apart from everybody else. I'm also very young. I just turned 23 beginning of November. I look older, but I'm not. And I'm thankful to be on a panel with these amazing people today.
All right.
Hi everyone, my name is Mamie Koomson, also go by Mamie for short. I own a boutique agency called Quirky Creative, and we specialize in organic social media marketing and brand strategy. But on the side, I also post food content with BR TOK, and I'm not going to disclose my age, but I mean, we doing it. I'm from Baton Rouge, been here my whole life, and so I think I was talking to somebody about that earlier. I was like, oh yeah, we were saying we were like the biggest BR haters for a while, and now it's like, okay, if we're gonna be here, let's find a way to love the city for what it is. So that's how I even started posting the Thai content with BR Talk. Like, look, there is some positive things we can like about it, whether it's, food, it is mostly food, but still, nonetheless, we can still enjoy that. So yeah.
So that BR Talk is, now why is my mic loud? That BR Talk is like a jingle now.
It is.
Yeah. All right, what you got, Shawn?
Howdy. This is close. Okay, back up.
Maybe y'all
Yeah.
My name is Shawn Gee. I am a realtor and a content creator from the Dirty Dell. Slidell, anybody? No? Oh, there we go. The Dirty Dell. Oh, yeah. So, moved up to Baton Rouge, go to LSU, studied music, and was a band director for 7 years. And then I jumped into the crazy world of real estate and used content to build and grow my business. So yeah, I'm really excited. You can look me up and kind of get a good feel of what I talk about. I talk a lot about the city of Baton Rouge. I sprinkle in some real estate, and yeah.
Hello, I'm Jordan Basham. I've worked with several of you in this room before, but I run Where to Go 225. So I'm an influencer on the side, but then I also was a marketing professional for years. And then as of this year, I officially launched my business publicly for social media. So very quietly for 2 years, I've been quietly running people's social media, kind of seeing if I wanted to dabble into that world, being an entrepreneur and doing it myself. And then as of a month ago, 33 days ago, I launched my own business, and it's been incredible the amount of success that I had no idea was coming my way. But yeah, so I'm all about building Baton Rouge into, if I'm gonna live here, like Mommy said, like we were #1 haters, got out of Baton Rouge and then ended up being away for 2 to 3 years. And then when I came back, I was like, if I'm gonna live in this city, I gotta be about it. And so I just try to find a way to help small businesses in Baton Rouge thrive and be noticed.
Hi guys, my name is Nia Bookter. I am a realtor with Keller Williams First Choice. I have been a realtor overall for about 6 years. I have been a realtor full-time for about 2.5 years now. I kind of started off in property management. I managed apartment complexes, 300 plus units, then kind of just merged over to real estate. And once I got into real estate and I learned the game, I also started doing real estate investing. So I buy homes, flip homes, and sell homes. So
So let's see. So Mamie and Jordan, where are you guys originally from? I hear y'all say about the city. I want to touch on that real quick.
I'm Baton Rouge, born and raised.
Oh, you are Baton Rouge. Okay.
Born and raised.
All right.
So
All right.
I grew up in it, but then I was
Okay.
like, whenever I moved away, I was like, I don't know. And then now I'm like Baton Rouge #1 lover.
I got you.
You gotta ask the question that everybody in Louisiana, you gotta ask where you went to high school.
That's
how you
it.
verify.
That's right. That's right.
That's how
you
you do it.
So y'all don't love Jigga City? I'm just
But you
messing
know,
with
it's
y'all.
just like when you're in your hometown, you just kind of
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's a fishbowl, but you definitely leave and then you see like, okay, there are some things and benefits, or the culture in
Yeah.
the city is a lot different.
Nope, we tried to breaking the
Yeah,
rules.
I think that was with Tooth when they have it on. Okay. So next question, and then we go dive deep into some strategies. How did you guys get into the social media realm? And we can start with you, Nel.
So initially, I picked up a camera and video editing about 2-3 years ago. I opened my business about a year ago, possibly. I don't know y'all know the gym Nard Fit in downtown Baton Rouge. I just saw him editing on a computer one day, and when it comes to editing, it's really hard to teach somebody. It's really tedious. And I used to personally train there, so he used to always make his self-workout videos, really cool, flashy. And I had recorded one for myself, and he said he was gonna make it. I'm still waiting for that video to this day. And that's been 3-4 years ago. So ultimately, that inspired me to go and edit myself. I taught myself the effects, and from there, I got pretty good enough at it, I guess. And content is a way I escape and unleash my creativity to another level. People can't put chains on me or barriers on me. If I want to make it, I make it, and I want to inspire people and continue to innovate and move their needle forward.
I like that. How many of you guys have seen some of Nel videos? Real creative, like real good, man. And to think you just been doing it like 2 years.
2 years.
That's crazy. And I met him right when he started doing it, and just the growth, that can happen in a matter of 2 years. So that's real encouraging, man. So yeah, I appreciate that, man.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, Mommy, what you got?
So I'm gonna be honest, I grew up on social media. I had a Twitter account. I ran a fan account actually in middle school. That's really how I got into social media.
A fan account.
Yeah, for
Fans on?
mindless behavior. No, it was mindless. I was the biggest mindless behavior stan. So I ran a meme account. And I used to make the memes with my classmate, like.
Okay.
But that's how it started. But it really wasn't until after I graduated. I actually went to college for creative writing, and I was going on track to be a professor in English. And then I took a gap year, and I was doing social media for like apartments and stuff. And it wasn't until they had a conference, and the guy who first worked with Beats Headphone was speaking, and he was talking about like how they did this and their marketing. And I don't know why it didn't click to me until then that I was like, he's getting paid to just be creative and post this online. And I was like, I've been doing this since middle school. I was running fan accounts and doing this and running accounts for like clubs I was in, my sorority. Like I was always doing the social, but I never thought of it as a career. It was just something fun. So after that, I was like, oh, I want to work in social media. Applied to jobs. I couldn't get hired nowhere. They were like, you didn't have it. Like I don't know if it was my degree or maybe I didn't have it on paper, but I was like, no, I know I can do this, but I think I had applied to like 60 plus jobs, couldn't get hired with anything. So I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to do it myself. So I went and freelanced as a way to build my portfolio to then get a job. But I think I just freelanced a little too hard, and now I have a business. So that's kind of how that happened. And then even starting BR TOK, I always tell people it was like, I knew I wanted to do content creation. It was like, okay, if I can apply my strategies to my personal page to just show someone like, okay, I know how to do social strategy, I grew my page. It was always for business. I was always trying to go back to like, okay, I know what I'm doing. But, that blew up, and then I was like, okay, I guess I'll just keep going. So now we're 2 years into doing the influencing too.
That's nice.
So,
I love it.
So back in Slidell, I used to skate a lot. I was a really big skateboarder, and I used to watch a lot of skate videos, and I used to make videos with my little digital camera and then upload it on Windows Movie Maker and try to make those skate videos and everything like that. So that I got a lot of practice like editing in like middle school, not professionally, nothing really that serious, but I knew how to kind of do it. And then fast forward, skating throughout high school and college and all that. When I started teaching, I kind of stopped doing some of the social media stuff at that point, even though it was just all personal fun stuff. 2020 hits, COVID is, kicking all the, the schools are shutting down and everything like that. I started making videos for my students on how to play their instruments, right? How to, what tempo is, what beats are, all those things. So I get more into practice with that at that point. So thankfully I have that skill. Once I got licensed as a realtor, I didn't really know how to, I guess, exactly get business. I was kind of learning. My friends that are here, Joanna and my friend Jalen, I got really inspired by them, seeing that you can make content and get business from it. So I was like, wait, I know how to make videos. Okay, let me put, 2 and 2 together. And that's what kind of helped me get started, connecting my business and social media.
So I go back to the being a Baton Rouge hater. So whenever my husband and I graduated college, the first thing we said was we're getting out, right? So we moved to Houston, moved to Dallas, and we were just 2 kids that whenever we lived here in Baton Rouge, we went to the same Mexican restaurant, we went to the same sushi restaurant. We didn't change anything. So when we got thrown into Dallas, into Houston, there's a million different restaurants you can go to on one street. So we constantly were going to new restaurants and just constantly trying to find who had the best food and all that. Well, then when we moved back, we were like, okay, if we're gonna be here, we're gonna love the city, right? Let's go to new restaurants. So when we go on date night, we this is so cheesy, but we had popsicles and a cup, and we literally wrote down 50 new restaurants that we'd never been to, and we put them in a cup. We said, okay, every time we go on a dinner, we're gonna try a new restaurant. So after about 5 to 10 restaurants, we started taking pictures, because then the food was cute, something unique would come out, different things like that, and then we just you get lost in the scroll on your phone where you have all these photos. So I jokingly was like, oh, maybe I should just make an Instagram so we could have this moment and we can always go track down the food that we remembered. So I jokingly made an Instagram called Where to Go 225. I know it's very cliche, but then with COVID kind of came in. So when I was making posts, I was just kind of making posts, didn't have hashtags, anything like that. If you go look at my first photo, it's pretty terrible, has a very bad filter on it. But it was just for selfish reasons for me to have. Well, then as COVID kind of rolled in, people started finding the page because restaurants were shutting down. People wanted to try to see how they could still help the restaurants that were open, but also food's not pretty when it's in a to-go box, right? But people still wanted to find a way to help. So I really started getting discovered whenever COVID happened, and you could go back and still see the ugly food in to-go boxes and different things like that. But people were still buying food from businesses. And then from there, it really just kind of pivoted, especially coming out of COVID. I just started really putting a focus on the new restaurants, the old restaurants, and trying to remind people of the cool things that we do have in the city. And since then, it's turned into a business now. So as I've collaborated with local businesses, they're like, hey, you helped us so much by just influencing and posting a photo of us. How about you come run my social media for us? And since then, it's been something I've never looked back on, and it's been super exciting.
So for me, I've always been active on social media. And once I got into real estate, I kind of just started studying other realtors in other states that were doing better than me. And one in particular, I actually met her out of town. And I just kind of was talking to her in regards to how can I pick up my business? And she was like, well, Nia, you have a nice life, you travel a lot. Start posting everything. Start posting when you go out to restaurants. Start posting when you're traveling, when you're on the plane. Just start posting. So the more I post, the more followers I got. So as I got heavy into real estate, I started posting content for real estate. When I'm going to the houses, I just pan around, and more, I got followers as it went on. So for me, it was just more so as I post more, I got more followers, got more business, and people were like, okay, I kind of want to tap into Nia, and it's more personal. So for the real estate, I think I get my clients from just people wanting to relate to me.
I like that. Yeah. So I wanted to get into brand, but that reminded me of another question I wanted to ask you and Shawn. So Shawn, if you could tell me about a direct situation, both of you guys being in real estate, where you wouldn't have gotten that client and you wouldn't have had that revenue generated, which came into your account if it wasn't through social media. I'm pretty sure you got hundreds of situations like that. Where it was a direct return on investment where you can say, hey, this definitely came from a post through social media. I closed this deal, I made this amount, and it wouldn't have happened without the social media.
So I've been kind of big on like whenever I'm posting on social media, it's hard for me to gauge if a specific post leads to a specific deal. A lot of my followers, they'll follow me for a specific reason. Like if you look at my page, it's honestly there's no theme except Baton Rouge. Like that's the theme of it. Oh, and a little bit of real estate, right? Like it's just that's like the general theme. So a lot of my business will be a follower that's maybe followed me for like months, you know, a year or something. Maybe they came in from like a food video, or maybe they came in from like just like a silly video or a relatable video, or sometimes they come in from like a home tour video, and that's why I'm trying to think of like something that's like pinpoint. Actually, I could tell you one right now. So my client Shazia is right over there. Sorry, I didn't mean to call you out. But Shazia reached out to me over TikTok. I don't know if there was a specific video that she saw or anything like that, but she reached out. She texted me, and we're pre-approved, rolling. Got a home under contract, and we're rocking. So that's one right now. I'm sorry, sometimes I blank thinking, but my friend Shazi is right there.
I like that.
So for me, I do a lot of the polls, right? So for me, I may ask a question like, are you interested in becoming a homeowner in the next year? So, or I may say, this home, would you like to purchase this home and receive X amount of dollars toward this home? So if you answer my poll, I'm gonna hop in your DM. So that's kind of, for me, I get a lot of my clients like that. I ask questions, they respond, and then I go in. And I think once people see that, okay, you know, she's easy to talk to, she's relatable. And at that point, they kind of open up and they say, hey, well, you know, I am looking to purchase, but I have these issues. And from there, I think, let me try to give an example. So most recently, I sold a home, and I made the post, I sold the home, and I had a young lady, she was like, you know, this is a dream of mine, I can't wait until I become a homeowner. So I'm like, well, what's stopping you? Why aren't you a homeowner? And she was like, I just don't know, I think I have trouble with my credit, I'm not sure. So I'm like, well, let's see, fill out an application, let's take a look, we'll dive in. And she was ready right then and there, pre-approved on the spot. And we found a house, 30 days later, we closed. So for me, it's just kind of, a lot of people are afraid to actually start the process. They're afraid to actually even come to an agent and say, hey, I need help. So I just try to make people feel comfortable with opening up to me. That was the deal for me. And that's actually how I get most of my clientele, just kind of starting a general conversation, being friendly. Hey, you know, it's okay, I can help you.
I like that. Yeah, that reminded me, this was like 4 or 5 years ago, John Russell told me the same thing when she was really heavy, you know, on social media. She's not as involved as she was, and same thing, she said she get most of her clients from social media. So if anybody knows as far as return on investment, how much money you put into something versus how much you get back, you can see if the market is working or not. And when you do an organic post where you're not paying for an ad, so that wasn't an ad, you didn't pay for that ad, did you, Nia?
I don't think I've ever paid for it.
Right, so, and just not to get in your business, about how much was that check from that person you're talking about?
Yeah, that in particular, it was a D.R. Horton house. Shout out to D.R. Horton.
Okay.
Those checks are the most. That check in particular was $12,000.
So look at that, 12,000. What kind of return on investment is that? Courtney, what's that, Infinity? That's Infinity. That's good enough. That's good enough. It's crazy, the return on your investment on that, you know, versus paid ads. So that's crazy, and that's the reason why we're in this room. So that, if anybody taking notes, the poll thing, that's a good idea for you guys to start implementing the poll. So that's a good one.
That's the way they
Yeah. So let's talk about building a brand. A lot of people, there's so many people that's doing the same thing. So I feel like if you really don't have a brand out there, you just a commodity. What's gonna get people to do business with you is you having a brand that people know, like, and trust. And once you build that, people will do business with you on the strength of your brand. And part of the brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room, you know. And so I want to kind of unpack that too, but part of building your brand is through social media as well. So I want each one of you guys to kind of, well, we're gonna take 3 of you guys. We're gonna do Nel, Mamie, and Jordan. If y'all both can give probably the top tip that you would give somebody that's just starting out and want to look to build a brand. I know Shawn back there, he's in here. He talking about possibly jumping in. You gonna be ready to jump in, Shawn? Social media, you still a little iffy? All right. So what advice would you give Shawn? He was just like me years ago. Don't really want to fool with social media, but he sees his opportunity in it. So what would you tell him, Nel?
So initially, when I had my first consultation with clients to see if I want to take them on, I like to feel for their personality. So for instance, everybody on this panel have their own style, their own personality. If y'all would try it, it wouldn't really come out the same. Y'all can't say howdy, how Shawn Gee, how howdy. Y'all can't say BR TOK, how Mamie do BR TOK. But it's something they cultivated themselves and made it cool. So I always tell my clients, what is the X on the question? What is the reason why you don't want to get into content? The top 3 rebuttals I get is insecurity. I'm not getting in front of the camera. I'm shy. What people don't like my posts. It comes down to comparing themselves to others, like somebody else they see when the person that's making the content on the other side going through hardships too. But I always come back to the question: content becomes a job when you start pretending. When you try to put on a facade, when you try to be somebody you're not, and you always got to keep it up, it becomes really draining. When you find yourself in that content, things you do every day, you might not think it's cool. Like if you're a doctor, they have a little girl out there that want to be a doctor too one day. So record your routine, record what you do, because you're inspiring somebody. Just because you live it every day, it becomes normal. But somebody want to be in a position you were at in life. So don't pretend, be yourself, and just get more accountable. So yeah, goes back to content becomes a job when you start pretending. If you're feeling drained at this moment, you're probably pretending, be yourself. Let that list show whatever that insecurity is you have. Let it show. I talk fast. I got a country accent, but people love it. But yeah, don't pretend.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, I like that.
Just to co-sign it, that's not going to be my tip, but he's definitely true with that, because I think last year around this time I was really burnt out, and I had to realize that I was trying to be like, oh, everybody wants me to post this, so I was doing what I thought everybody wanted to do, and I ended up not liking it, so I took a 2-month break, so that was definitely true with like not being yourself. But I think my tip would be for anyone trying to start is that I feel like with every industry we can always say like, oh, it's saturated, or this person's already doing it, and this person's already doing that, and I think just look at those people that you like and look at what they're doing, but then see what they're not doing, because you could relate to them and say like, well, we both like this, but I promise you there's gonna be one thing that you do that they don't do or they don't like, that you can go in, and that one little thing makes it a different value. So I felt like that with the food. I was like, oh, there's already 20 accounts posting about food. At least I was following all of them, but I think coming in with the angle of like, all right, I used to not like the city, but I genuinely want to spotlight these businesses as a way to be like a love letter. I think that was just the different angle I always went into with the videos. It was less about like, here's the new aesthetic. It was just like, okay, this place has been here for 20 years. I don't know if y'all knew, but they're local. They've been wanting to do this. We should show them some love. So look at your industry, see the people that you love, but I promise you there's something that you can do that is going to be different from them, and that I would say to pursue that, like not to get stuck in like, oh, it's too saturated. There's always a spot for somebody in social media. It's too many people on the app to not find your pocket of people.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off of that. That's true, Mamie, because people gonna be attracted to your personality and who you are. Even though somebody can be doing the exact same thing, they can't be you. So that I like that. All right, what you got, Jordan?
I'm a co-sign everything that they just said. But I think that you just can't put yourself in a box and be like, oh, somebody else is already doing this. Like Mamie and I are both content creators, both doing Baton Rouge food, both doing lifestyle, both have organic social media businesses, and like we're in two different, like our followers are completely different than each other. And we both have 40,000 followers each, at least on each side. And so I think you just can't get yourself in a box. But people fall in love with personalities. People don't fall in love usually with the brand. So I think just show your personality. But people, I think you have to go at it for the right reasons. So Mamie and I and Neil and Shawn, we've all started our social medias where we're just trying to do it for the right reason of like educating people in real estate, teaching people about, the love of Baton Rouge and, film. And I think that You just have to not worry about what other people are doing, but also don't just think about money. Like we all want to make money, right? We'd love to make $1 million for every video, but go at it for the reason that pick a reason that's not just money driven. Pick a reason that you want to invest back in that group. You good? You good back there? We're all good? All right, good. Not the sandwiches. But we all are money driven, but pick a reason that's not just money. Pick a reason to, give it back to Baton Rouge or what it may be. The money's gonna come. Yeah, the money will find you, but it's people will buy into that personality, and then the opportunities will follow from there.
So you were saying about the followers. So I had a question that's further down, but I guess I want to dive into it right now. So they have a lot of people out here that's buying followers, but it's really not effective. So let's talk about that. How do you feel about people buying followers?
Do not do it. People can tell immediately when you've bought followers. You can just go look at profiles and see that this person has 0 followers and the only person they're following is you. We can pick up on it immediately when we're looking at people's profiles. But then also, Instagram is smart. It starts to learn when you're buying followers and things like that, and that's a sure way to get your profile shut down. If you've ever heard of Instagram jail, it's a real thing. Whenever you unfollow or follow too many people, in particular in one day, Instagram learns that, and it thinks you're kind of a spam account. So Instagram jail, you don't want to be in there. It's not a good place. It's a surefire way to get your Instagram locked. But buying followers is never going to result in real money.
Yeah, that's very true. I had a client when she first started. She had purchased some followers, and the con with that is that you never really know where you're at. So she'd be like, I have this many followers, but then some of those would get deleted. So then the follower count was changing. Like, I think it took us 3 months before I even cleared them all out, and then could say, okay, now we know what we can do with the insights, because it really hurts your business, because you can be posting content, but you don't know what's actually working because you're just posting to all these bots and stuff, right? And it's not organic, and like she said, it doesn't bring money. Like, I think people might be too caught up in like the big followers versus like making that income. I'm always like, your impressions should turn to income. So like, I think I just put that on my story. I'm like, I don't have the biggest account in Baton Rouge, but I know I've been able to show value, and then getting those paid collabs or something it's a lot to me, but compared on paper, I'm technically a micro influencer, but you can still show that value, because it's like, I think people get stuck with like, 2,000 is little, but if you got 2,000 sales, you'd be jumping up for joy hitting the split in the church. Like, you'd be happy if you got 2,000 sales today. So you have to, I kind of see each of those individual people can be sales if you know how to brand yourself properly and showing your product and how your product or service is gonna fix a problem for the people that follow you.
How do you grow the following? If someone say they gotta go within the 6 months, let's say they want to grow it to at least 10 to 15,000 in 6 months. What would you do to help? Some things that you can give advice on. What would you do to help grow that within that 6 month time frame?
So, of course, I know it's always the disclaimer that you can't guarantee going viral, but I do think there are certain things you can try your best to do that. So there's 2 different clients I've done that for, and so I always say that there's different pillars with your content. There's the stuff that are supposed to be like the trendier, the things you know are gonna bring those followers in, but while you're making that content, I always say to still make your core content. So I'm trying to think of an example. So a loctician, that was the first account I ever grew. I think she had 4,000, and when I left, she was at 18,000 followers. And so she was posting stuff that would go viral, like maybe if it was tips on how to do your hair or how to do your locks. But in between that, I would be like, hey, you need to post about maybe why this service is important here or why it's important to detox there, because once those new followers come in, they I think it's kind of like Instagram shows like your old content to people when they first follow you. You want to have that content there that adds that value of like, oh, okay, I didn't know they did this too, or I didn't know they were interested in these things. So that was kind of what I would say with the tips is that you do need to do that content. Doing the trendy stuff is going to reach you in front of the new people. So find a way to do that, but still don't just give up on all that, because you can get 1 million views and then it comes and go. Like with going viral, it's like your 5 minutes of fame. So you want to be able to capitalize on that. So if you notice your video's trending, keep riding on that wave, but then put in other stuff like oh, hey, like, I know my food videos are going up, but then I'd be like, hey, I'm actually interested in this, or, you know, I actually run this business there. And those posts didn't maybe go as viral, but I got a return of investment from those type of people. So,
You mix it in.
yeah, I don't know.
Can I
Did I answer
piggyback
that?
off that?
Okay.
So Jordan Heffler gave us in a panel one time the best advice, and she was like, if somebody comes to your Instagram page, you know, there's the grid, like there's 3, 6, 9, 12. A customer should always be able to tell what your business is about or what you're about within your first 12 photos. So your grid should always change, right? So like, I'll use Jordan Heffler as the perfect example. You know, she has photos of bands, she has photos of food, of her going to events, and it's very bright and colorful. So your average consumer should be able to just look at your profile at the first time they pull it up and be able to tell everything about you within those first 12 photos. And those 12 photos can just keep rotating, but like they should be able to, at a glance, to be able to tell what you're about.
That's good.
Oh, you?
No, you can talk.
I was I was gonna mention also, like, whenever you're looking to grow your page, your profile, whatever, posting consistently and posting a lot is also extremely important. And it probably is gonna, like, depending on what platform you're using, is also gonna depend on how much you post, right? So like, if you're posting on YouTube, you probably don't need to post like 5 videos a day on YouTube, right? It doesn't happen. You could probably get away with 1 a week, sometimes even like 1 every 2 weeks, and you can grow your page, right? Instagram, you could probably do like, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. I think early on, the more you post, the more content gets out there and more people can gravitate towards your stuff, right? Because if you don't post a lot, then people aren't really gonna see it, right? So, and you don't need to post like 3 times a day, which, I don't know about y'all, but when I was growing my TikTok, I was posting like 3 times a day. But, you know, I don't post as much anymore on there, but, you know, it might be like 3 to 5 times a week. I could probably do better at that, honestly. But growing consistently, posting consistently, but just like another layer on top of that of growing consistently is also actually trying to get better too. So like, some people can post a lot and we're just bad, and they just don't attempt to get better, whether it's like visually, any kind of like audio enhancement, or maybe editing better. They're just posting, which is cool, like good, you're posting, you're doing the thing, but also, you know, try to get a little bit better, like watch some people that have what you think is good content and maybe try to emulate it, right? There's so much out there, and yeah, that's important, I think.
I'm skipping. No, that's actually very true. Going back to what you said before, with the lactician, it was a very aggressive plan. We were actually posting 3 times a day. I would never do that again on Instagram, but it was very aggressive, but we were improving every time, because another tip I think that I even do for my personal page is your followers or comments will tell you exactly what they're looking for. So if someone's like, wait, what was this that you had? Or, oh, I wish I would have known that. Grab that comment and make content on it. Or if you don't get any comments, look at the people who's making that. See those comments, because sometimes they're not replying to it, or they're maybe so caught up with their own stuff. You can start making that content, because that means somebody's looking for that. Like, oh, what was the recipe for this thing? They're not answering. You can make that recipe, because it will circle around to that. So definitely looking at it and improving and changing your style. And so like, when I first did my food videos, I was not doing voiceovers. I was like, I'm not getting on there. I'm just gonna use music, call it a day. Nobody was, no one was messing with it. So I was like, so then I was like, let me do a little voiceover, let me try it. And I got a few hits, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it again. And literally that next video took off, and I was like, okay, I guess I gotta get on here and do a voiceover. So it's just, that's what works for my profile. But, you know, Jordan, you don't have to do voiceovers, honestly. I'm a little envious. But yeah, so I definitely co-signing that.
You was about to say something, Jordan?
I was gonna pass it
Oh,
down.
Nia? Okay.
Yeah.
You got one right.
That was like Spider-Man. Yeah, ours is bad. We don't want you to somewhere away.
So, for me, consistency. I try to make sure I post daily. Like, even if I don't feel like it, I post daily. But also, I notice for me, when I engagement, whenever I'm engaging and commenting on other people's, and when people are commenting on mine, if I'm replying back to them, for whatever reason or another, when I wake up the next day, I have a ton of new followers. So definitely you want to engage with your followers, and yeah, I think that helps a lot as well.
Yeah, I've heard about that too.
So this is mostly for a lot of people fall in the trap of they don't want to start content because they don't have the followers. I don't have a lot of followers on my page. In the month of March, I had 4,000 followers, and I did something called a 30 for 30 challenge, where I went collaborate with different kinds of people. Cause I love collaborating. I love other people inspire me. So hearing their stories, hearing their style, their personalities, I feed off of it. Bossily, I went 30 days straight without missing a day, different content, different collaborations, and I had 4,000 followers and did over 2.5 million views from my Instagram page. So it don't come down to, yes, followers do look good. Yes, it makes stuff easier when it comes to the brand deals, but at the end of the day, brands want engagement. So that you can show them the insight that you're doing, that I did this many views, this many people click this link, so they'll probably click your link so they can buy. They want convergence. So don't really get caught up in the trap of not having enough followers, because it matters to a degree, but if you're constantly engaging enough and then people enjoy it enough, you're gonna get the results you get with, I get more insights than people with 100,000 followers, and brands really do value that, because I'm making more of a fan base, a community, more than just people that's following to stay alone. The people that follow me want to be a part of the journey so they learn and grow with me.
So you said brand deals. What's that? Brand deals.
So ultimately brand deals is, for instance, if I'm Nike and I'm looking at an athlete, for instance, I will look for somebody that matches my morals, that I want them to embodies what my brand do. So I might go get somebody from LSU that's playing really good at quarterback to get my brand, to get it more out there, because they have a following I don't currently have. So let's go to a smaller scale. Say if I'm a mom and pop shop from Baton Rouge, I will go get a influencer like Mamie. It's not a big brand, but it's still considered a brand because of the business. I would get her to come, do a review, and ultimately I would either work out some kind of compensation, if it's a free food, if it's money-wise, and ultimately you get paid for the following you have and the support you give to that business, because once people watch you, they go to that restaurant. Kind of like the Keith Lee effect. When somebody watch Keith Lee video, everybody go to that restaurant to try it out. And y'all probably have another elaboration of it. And that's not good, but
What's y'all experience with the brand deals?
Like, what you mean?
How often do you guys get these type of deals? What's up? It seems like people don't want to touch that. No, I'm just messing.
I'll tell you the tea.
Okay.
There's a lot of.
Give me the tea, Joy.
I won't go too deep, but so brands slide into our DMs every single day, and it's a mixed variety of a brand will slide into your DMs and be like, hey, like I want you to come do a reel, a post, and a story, and I'm not going to pay you at all. Your payment is the collaboration to get influence to my followers, and so it's like that doesn't pay me for shit. That doesn't pay my bills. But then there's some brands that will actually, pay, and they will, you'll say, hey, like I do a reel for, $500 or whatever. Maybe for me personally, I don't have a rate sheet. I don't believe in those because every single brand deserves their opportunity to be heard out and to, you can have like a standard of like, hey, I don't go less than $500 on a reel. But for me personally, I always try to build a brand deal to that brand. So like my mom and pops in Baton Rouge, if it's a brand new business, if it's somebody that is literally doing a pop-up tent, I don't charge them a dime. I don't believe in that. But that's what works for me. But there are some bigger brands, Raising Cane's, River Center, Raising Cane's, Chicken Fingers. Y'all gonna pay me. Sorry, it is what it is. But brands are always tricky about the way that they slide into your DMs too, because their motives. I feel like usually we can kind of spot whenever people are kind of being slick and trying to just use our demographics and our trying to push some other motive. But I think as long as you're pretty. I cut right to the chase whenever brands ask me. They're like, hey, like, I want to do X, Y, and Z. I'm like, all right, what's your media budget? So I feel like we probably all are getting deals in our DMs, but it's such a wide variety of what's going on.
What about you, Nia? You have something they slide their DM for the brand?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's daily. It could be food or lifestyle or different stuff, but
Timu. I ain't doing it, but yeah.
those different things. But yeah, I I know you asked like how many, but did you want an extra follow up, like the experience of brand deals, or?
Yeah, I can. You can touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's this is another thing I think I was just talking about with my close friends. I was like, with brand deals, I think in the beginning it's like saying yes to everything, but sometimes you do need to turn down some stuff, and it can be hard, especially if you see that dollar and you're like, cover my energy bill, you know. But I think the first or second time when I turned something away, it really did save me in the end, because you have to also realize you're attaching your name to it. And followers, I mean, there's probably people you follow and you're like, oh, they just did that for a check. And it's like you just lose your trust for them instantly. And it's like, if it took you this many years to build up your followers, you're gonna throw this away for what, a free meal, $200? Like, it's just not worth it. So sometimes I do think you need to kind of sit, engage, and just make sure, like, is this really worth me kind of risking my brand on? So I think that's kind of one thing I've learned over the past 2 years.
Yeah, that's good.
So, as far as I know, some of you guys were saying posting at least once a day, aggressive 3 times a day, being consistent.
You don't
Not the
gotta
3 times, not the 3 times.
I mean,
Okay.
it's aggressive, but I wouldn't recommend it.
So, what advice would you give to people starting out, or people who not, that's been in it for a while, but they struggle with new content? And I think I hear that from a lot of people. Just they struggle with being able to consistently provide new content. How can you help them with that aspect?
Okay, let's start down here first. Yeah, I'll put it on you.
Did you want?
Yeah.
I'll go first. Okay. I think. I'm sorry. Repeat the question one more time.
So, there's a lot of people that struggle with being able to consistently provide new content.
Yeah.
Yeah, over time.
Don't be afraid to try new things, and if you don't like it, it's okay. You don't have to do it again. For me personally, I hate my voice and I hate doing voiceovers. Every now and then though, I'll get a new mic or something will change and I'll dabble again after a few months. So I think don't be afraid to try new things, but also don't be afraid to shut things down. Like, you don't like your face to be on camera. I hate when people film me eating food. I cannot stand it. I don't like things touching my face, all the things. So, you can have guardrails of what you will and won't do, but also I think until you try, you don't know if it's gonna work. I mean, we didn't know that what we were gonna do was gonna work until we tried it, so you have to give it a shot.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, whenever you're coming up with things to post, for me, I was just kind of posting whatever I felt like. I didn't really even have a game plan. I was like, Baton Rouge, anything. And then I was just posting whatever. And then one day I kind of sat down, I was like, okay, I need some pillars. What are things that people really care about in the city? And I guess more importantly for me is what can I consistently keep posting about and never run out of ideas? Or it's just almost like I'm never, it's gonna feel like I'm never gonna run out of ideas. So ones are for me, house tours. I will never be able to record every single home in the city of Baton Rouge, Denham Springs, or anything like that, right? So I can just do that anytime I want. Even if I don't feel like it, I'm feeling blank, I'm like, oh, I don't know what to post. Let me go on the MLS, vacant home, call the agent, hey, can I get, okay. Chop it up, boom, okay, cool. For me, food. If we're going out, my wife and I, hey, you wanna go out to eat? Sure. And I'm like, okay, bring my camera. All right, record that. So it's all these things that are what I would consider just infinite ideas, right? Yeah. Infinite ideas that just keep, you can do it whether you feel like it or whether you don't. And then I still try to post things that, another thing, I post things about certain news pertaining to Baton Rouge and just comment on it. That's always, the news is gonna keep happening every single day. So there's always gonna be fresh and new things happening all the time, right? So it's just stuff that's always happening and always helping me get ideas to keep going. And then I can also still at the same time while I'm doing that, focus on other creative things, to come up with new ideas.
For me, my grandfather, I'm from the country, so my grandfather used to always tell me, pay attention, you might learn something by accident. So that's something I try to take on in my life, and it really has inspired me to make content. So one thing that gives me fresh new ideas is when I get inspired. So when I travel, coming from a small city, I'm from Mount Pleasant, Louisiana, real small town, real country, and I never would have knew I would have been traveling how I was traveling now. So seeing new things, seeing new people really inspires me to get more creative. So that's why I collaborate. Like even I think the first time I met Mamie, it was off a collaboration video. But that grows me as a creator because I'm able to see how she do content, able to see how she move, how she talk, how she do her voiceovers. The whole experience is really fun for me. So you ever get stuck with ideals, look at what other people doing around you. So a lot of people like my content because it's different from Baton Rouge. You look at it, people refer to it as LA style or New York style. It's really on a different level when it comes to editing. And that's what I looked at when I first started. I didn't look at the people in Baton Rouge or locally, looked at the people in Los Angeles and New York, because that's where I wanted to be when it came to content making. So you've been a right, follow somebody that's doing it on another level somewhere else. And the one thing about Louisiana, we're very behind on the content game. So if they do it in Los Angeles, you can take that concept and bring it to Louisiana and you'll be ahead of the game out here.
That is, oh my God, I can't say how amazing that is. That is just so right. Like, I was just like, everything you're saying, I was like, yep. I like, same thing. I really try not to look, like I'll follow like realtors, but I really try not to look at their content here. I try to look elsewhere because even pertaining to like real estate as like realtors, we're so behind in the marketing game. It's like, it's so crazy. Like, go look at Houston, I look at like South Carolina, even like, out in like South Carolina, I'm looking at like all these different realtors that are doing awesome stuff, and I'm like, okay, what can I do over here to match that? So like, yes.
Kind of same thing. I always look at other agents all around, like in big cities, in big states, and then I kind of just put my own twist to it. So you always want to kind of be I'm not gonna say it's original because you're looking at someone else, but you always want to put your own touch to it, and just stay consistent. Stay consistent.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we getting ready to wind down a little bit, but I had another question for you, Nel. So within this short amount of time of 2 years since we sat down at walk-ons and was talking about different stuff that we wanted to do, and you have landed some big clients, some celebrities. So let's touch on that. In 2 years, man, how do you go from learning this self-taught to landing celebrities for clients?
First off, I have to give all glory to God because I look back and be surprised at times.
Yeah.
But it's really people, when I first came into the game, it was very hard. Like I said, I don't have a degree. And when I first met up, my first client I met with was Kevin Gates. And it was pretty solid working with him. It wasn't too intimate. It was just getting footage. But the next client, the most intimate I've ever been with a client, like actually by side, day by day action with Jay Ellis. And my first time meeting him, he really gave me the motivation that I was different. Because people used to always tell me, like, man, Nel, your stuff, like, it's different. But I'd be like, yeah, all right. Can I talk myself? I didn't think, like, you could be different by teaching yourself and being on another level. But I shot with him. He owned a Pilates studio out here, so he came down for one day. And they had found me from my 30 for 30, actually. The co-owner was like, I never heard of you before. We always fly somebody from LA. But we saw your content from this day 15 video and want to give you a chance. And that's something I prayed about and God told me to do.
So hold up, pause. So he found you off of social media.
He found
it wasn't a connection where somebody connected you. This was off of social media. Wow.
Off of social media, we connected. And his co-owner actually met me, called me, and he like, man, yeah, Jay Ellis. Had no idea who he was. I'm not gonna tell him that. I'm like, yeah, I definitely know him. So he gonna know. I didn't know him at the time. But once I researched him, I recognized him and knew where he came from. When he came in, we did the shoot, and he was like, man, then we need pictures and video. I don't do pictures, I only do video. But I was gonna tell him I don't do pictures, because I might lose the client. So I remember that night, I called Nard, I think it was like 5 in the morning, and they gave you, like with them, they gave you a whole storyboard, how they want everything. And I did the exact mood, I got the lights and everything, and sit up in the gym. And mimic, I said, you pose like he posed, and I'm gonna take a picture of you. And I did the whole sit up till like 3, 4 in the morning when Nard, cause I was motivated to get it right. I was really nervous because he was a big time client. But ultimately from that, he told me like, after he got the video back, like, man, Nel, you got it. Like, he didn't realize how young I was. I was like 20, 19 at the time when I did that. He didn't realize how young I was, and he kind of took under me as like a mentor in a sense. So in August, I was able to blessed to go on his book tour. We went to the East Coast, my first time on the East Coast. And he's definitely my first celebrity client. Most celebrities, I've been around a lot of them. They're not what they show on social media, but him, very family oriented, take a picture with everybody he know, And every question I asked to learn, he always answered and gave me a real answer so I can grow and get better. But yeah, social media was how everything started.
That's crazy. That's nuts.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and open it up for question and answer. Pat probably saying, "All right, you gotta get him out of here." So he be on me about that time. So it's really good. We really could go a long time because there's so much more we can get into, but it's only a certain amount of time we have. So let's open it up to question and answer. Who has the first question? All right, go ahead. You may need the mic. Let's see if I can hear you first. I might can hear you.
You're somebody who doesn't like being like on camera at all. How would you go? What advice would you give to somebody like that just doesn't want to be? Because I hear all the time like, oh, it's so important to show your personality, to kind of present so people can see who you are. So like how do you feel like you have to kind of at some point have to show yourself, or you just
No, I think personality in general is never a physical, like you look at thing. You can show your personality in the captions. There's some people who do faceless content and then they read the caption and they can get your personality from that. That's how blogs really work well. They don't necessarily have their face, but you're like in the writing style. Even editing is, I think, a show of your personality. I think I can look at, if Nel's video popped up without anything on there, I'd be like, man, this looks a lot like this. Or I think once, okay, well, somebody took my content and posted it without me knowing, and she saw it and instantly was like, this looks like something Mommy would have edited because of that style. And I don't even think my face was in that one. It was just showing but you can tell from that style, and I think that falls under personality. So I think we have to kind of get out of, of course, you gotta show your face, but if you're not comfortable with that, it doesn't mean you won't succeed. I think that guy with the fork, he blew up and he was only showing the space. He wasn't even doing voiceovers or showing his face, but he had a certain style. He was really cinematic with his work, and it made him stand out. So I would just look at what makes your personality stand out. Is it you feeling nurturing? Is it you feeling excited when people see your stuff? And you can show that through whether it's the editing style, the lighting, or in your captions.
I was anonymous for 3.5, 4 years and signing brand deals. So I was so nervous because I didn't even want my name to be out there. So I even kind of had a fake name a little bit for the deals I could get under $500. You know what I'm saying? So I made sure I didn't want to put Jordan Basham to anything. I didn't have my face in anything, and literally all I was doing was posting food. And then as I slowly started turning my content, I started kind of dabbling in the lifestyle, and then I don't remember, you and I had become friends, and she was putting her face to a lot of things. I was like, damn, I guess I just got to do it and just see. So I was super embarrassed and cringed about doing it, and I was like, hi, this is Jordan, don't hate me. And then from there, I still don't put my face to a lot of things. I've gotten better, but I go back to that rule of the first 12 photos in your grid should tell about your brand. And so now the rule of thumb is I try to make sure my face is within the first 12 photos. And then every now and then, like I said, I'll dabble with the voiceovers and things like that. But again, it's not my comfort level. So just, kind of do until when you're comfortable. But then also, you just can't, there's always internet haters. So I'm always nervous about people talking bad about me and being like, oh, she's so ugly. Oh, she does X, Y, and Z. Just being messy on the internet. But in this space that we've created, at least I can speak in Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge is very welcoming, and we don't have a lot of, you go and get the random troll every now and then that's gonna say it's a mess. But this is truly a welcoming city, and you shouldn't have that much hate unless you're doing something crazy. Then maybe you will. But I think you're gonna be in a good space.
I know how I feel about this, but can y'all stomach to go back and watch some of your old content?
I have a rule, actually, when I do my voiceovers, I listen to it twice. After the second time, I do not listen to it. I'll edit it on the app, mute it. Because if I start listening to it too many times, I'm like, why did I say that word like that? And I can hear the spit when I say, I start nitpicking every little thing, and then I'm not gonna post it. And so I just knew, I think I was able to recognize if this was something that is gonna stop me from posting, then how can I combat that? So 2 times to listen to it, and then I have to post it. So yeah, but I don't really watch it too often. I'll watch it muted, but not with the sound. So.
So whatever I was watching, like, because I have gone back to watch like my first few videos on like TikTok, and I remember when I was making them, I kind of consciously made the decision. I was like, I'm gonna make my voice a little deeper, so that way when I look back at it, it's not gonna be that cringy. It's gonna be like, oh, he's just talking, and I'm like, top 5 tips for first-time home buyers. And I'm like, I look back, I go, oh man, what is it? I don't know why I did that. But over time, like, I mean, you know, like you're making content, you start showing your personality more, you just start talking and you just, you know, who cares? But yeah, it's a little cringe, but I don't know, it's kind of funny too at the same time.
I'll also add that technology changes every few months, it feels like. So you cannot compare yourself to even a year ago, because a year ago, there weren't that many mic clips, you know, walking around. It was all like you had your AirPods plugged into your phone, and now we have AirPods that are wireless. So you have to give yourself grace, because technology is, unfortunately, we're behind here in Baton Rouge, it feels like, but you know, technology is always evolving.
Got you coming, Courtney.
Okay, so I have 2 things. Can I say like a comment real quick? Okay, so for content ideas, y'all, we living in a new age.
ChatGPT. Right.
ChatGPT is such a best friend for any content ideas, how-to, tutorials, that theory. But my question is, how do you find comfortability in filming in public? Because okay, great, we were not feeling it. Because I'm like, it's such a hard barrier to go across, and you get the stares. I'm like, yeah, my Sam's Club, getting 12 things of butter. What about it? You know, so how do you just go about that?
I still cringe using a spotlight on food, so I just personally, I try to avoid it when possible, because like you're a food vlogger in a dark restaurant and you do a bright light and you're like the whole restaurant sees you. But sometimes you just gotta get the photo, and so it is, you know, they're paying the bills, you know, the customers around them aren't. But I personally can't handle it, I'm too cringe, but you know, I think that these characters do it amazing, you know.
Definitely cringy, but for me, I know it's gonna work for me, so you just have to not worry about the people around you. Act like think like I'm the only person in the room. And I just kind of ignore it. When I go and I'm making content and I see people staring at me, I just act as if they're not there. I just envision me by myself. So it is cringy, but as you go on, you get more and more comfortable with it, and you stop caring.
We were gonna say the same thing. See, I was scared too until you get that check, and I'm like, oh. So I get in the restaurant and I'll be right there just like this to get the good shot, because I think the times I was scared to get it and I'll go back to edit, I'm like, okay, this is not even the quality of content I want to put out. So I still do get a little nervous, but then I also think like, well, no, I don't want to leave money on the ground. So that's kind of like, I just view it as work. I go in, get it done, and then honestly, you'd be surprised. A lot of people probably don't even second guess it, or they might be looking and they're thinking about what they need to eat for dinner. They're probably not even worried about what you're doing too. So.
And being somebody that's a huge introvert, I'm very introverted, and most of my content is in public now. But I started making content so I could get uncomfortable. Since I'm introverted, it was a big social thing for me. Talking in front of the camera, I hate doing it, but I know I need to get better at public speaking and announcing my words. So content was a way, my excuse for me to do that. But with that being said, 3 years ago, 4 years, or 5 years ago, doing this would have been a lot more weirder. But now it's a normal. Everybody making content, everybody on social media, and back to the check reference. And Mr. Beastmaker with $3 billion a year from YouTube. If you making that, Casanat making easily 70+ million for this 30-day stream we doing. So when you put them numbers in front, I'll be at Walmart recording what I need to record.
Right.
So, yeah.
Alright, hey you guys, I'm loud enough, I don't need the microphone. First of all, I took 5 pages of notes from you guys tonight, so great job. Thank you for sharing what you've been sharing. So I've got more than one question, is that okay if I do it?
Right there, we could have had you up on a counter too.
So first question is, do you guys have any concerns about the TikTok ban coming in 2025? Or did I hit this horse spot?
I'll count it in first because this is actually some conversations I had with clients. But also it's something I implemented months before. A thing with me, I try to figure out things before it happened. So one thing we need moving into the era of is data. So if you're able to capture the data from your followers from TikTok before it happened, you still have their data. So
Like pull them off the platform, like to a newsletter, to another platform,
correct.
Instagram.
Correct. So data is the most important thing, like to everything. If you have data for a business, that's people paying 30 grand for email lists to send out emails to people because they usually convert it to sales. So if you are a person that have a lot of followers on TikTok, I don't know if it's gonna get past tonight. Just try to wait to capture the data from the followers. So if it do happen, you still have the information. You still can reach out to them. You still can sell them stuff in the future. It's just not going to waste.
Yeah, I agree. I think when the TikTok ban was first mentioned last year, at the time, I think my Instagram was still at like 3,000 followers. So it was kind of my wake-up call of like, okay, I was posting on TikTok, but not on Instagram. And it kind of scared me to be like, okay, I need to get on different platforms because we could wake up and it's gone. Yeah, and all my eggs were in one basket. So that's what it really made me uncomfortable to go on Instagram. And that took like maybe 7 months before I even reached 10,000. It was a lot slower than TikTok, but thinking of that, it was just kind of like, oh shoot, this could disappear then. And I mean, even the same applies with Instagram. That's why a lot of people are like, get those emails. Like, if you have those emails, that's your data, So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I feel like I've grown my Instagram enough now to where it's like, if something were to happen, I still can reach my people on a different platform.
I was gonna say one quick thing, but kind of like what Mommy was mentioning about how you had a bigger following on TikTok, and then Instagram was smaller, but then it grew. So like mine was the same way. Like I had a way bigger following on TikTok last year, and my Instagram was just like maybe a couple thousand. And then I was kind of tracking this year, like, okay, what is 2024 going to look like? So I had like 3,000 followers this year on Instagram, and in the beginning. And then I was like, man, it'd be really cool if I can get like 6,000 followers, if I could double it. But now I have like 17. And but growing that, I was cross-posting what I was posting on TikTok to Instagram. And I think those two platforms have a lot of similarities that you can do that. Maybe you don't have to post every single thing, because like I think TikTok might reward more of like if you do post like 3-4 times a day, where Instagram would be like, hey, you're kind of spamming everybody. So maybe pick and choose a little bit when it comes to that. But I found that when I was cross-posting them, my Instagram went, and then I was like, oh, cool. And that's where most of my business comes from now.
Yeah, I'll add to that. I think that this conversation is just reminding businesses that, again, you can't have all your eggs in one basket, but your marketing, your organic social media should never just be where your clients find you. The way that your clients read you, like if they walk into your business, the way that they experience your business should be the same thing that they see on Google reviews. Your Google reviews should speak to your social media with the comment section, different things like that. You kind of want to make sure everything is a full circle. It's kind of, all being said across the same platforms. But there's so many new platforms that are coming, like Blue Sky is the new Twitter now. So I think you constantly have to be kind of dabbling in the new ones that are coming up. But don't just let one be your solid base. I stick with the basics because I'm just a girl that has very limited hours. So I edit all my videos on Instagram. I'll dabble with CapCut if I'm feeling feisty, but hours are so important at the end of the day. Time is money, and I just stick to the basics, and I truly, I have Lightroom that I can edit photos in. So I'll take a quick photo, edit the brightness, different things like that. There's presets out there to help you, go ahead and edit your pictures even faster. But I don't overcomplicate things. I try to, make it as easy as possible.
So for me, I actually do most of my editing on TikTok. I use TikTok pretty often, Instagram pretty often, CapCut. CapCut is actually my best friend. I do a lot of my reels on CapCut.
Yeah, I did want to mention, CapCut is my favorite thing, and it's so like powerful as like a mobile editing app. I don't move anything to my my long form stuff for like YouTube and stuff like that, I'll move to my computer to edit, but anything that I'm posting to my short form stuff like Instagram and TikTok, it's all edited in CapCut. gosh, like I do pay for it now. I wasn't at first, but I do pay for it. But like what you can do with it, like even if you don't have a microphone, like if you can enhance the voice where it sounds loud enough and clear enough to make it sound good, even if you don't want to buy a microphone. And I'm just like, this is crazy, all in this little stupid app. Well, it's not stupid, okay, but it's a great app. It's a great app. So yeah.
My favorite tool is this right here, the iPhone. And this is coming from a videographer. I have the best of the best equipment, but being portable, I can't carry that heavy camera around 24/7. I have a decent enough mic, so this is definitely my favorite tool, the iPhone. And y'all on camera right now too.
Can we give you one third last quick one? How many of you guys are investors in the room? Okay. For folks so like myself, my content's all based. I buy houses for a living. And so, what is your first thought off the drawing? Like, what is your creative thought if you had someone who was an investor who buys houses? What would be a creative thing you would think to do?
So I was talking to you about this. I was talking earlier about this, about what an investor's maybe best route is as far as social media, and I think it's literally posting doing the job. Like I think that's one of the biggest things. So if you show that you're actually doing the job, I think somebody may get really interested. Whether it's somebody that needs to sell their distressed home or something like that, they may actually reach out. But I think besides that, I think maybe the more lucrative thing on that is just like connecting with other investors and even going into some kind of coaching or something like that. I think that's like even the more lucrative approach as an investor. But really doing the job, if you're flipping the home or if you're wholesaling or anything like that, I think going about that route is pretty good.
I don't know the industry that well. But there is this girl that did the bobby pin trick. Have y'all heard of this? The girl, she started with a bobby pin. Huh? She traded all the way up to a house. And I think that people just want to follow along a journey. So like she literally started with a bobby pin and then she just started trading thing by thing by thing until she got to a house. So finally she was able to trade some expensive item for a literal house, and then she flipped it and then turned it and gave it to a family that was in need. So I think that people are invested in people doing cool, weird things, but then like how can you give back to somebody? So I think if you can think of some creative idea, like I'm not saying go buy a house and give it away, but maybe, like, I mean, there's so much, I mean, we see the struggle here at Baton Rouge of, there's so many people that could benefit from just having a roof over their head. So I think just think of some creative ways that people can support you, follow along the journey. But, there's a guy here that's doing, where he cooks 50 meals and brings it to the Red Shoes fridge. Dorcas is here somewhere. I saw, yeah, there you are. And so there's a guy that's cooking food and just bringing it to the community fridge. But like, how do we find something like that to help the problems that we do have in Baton Rouge? So I think that could be a cool idea.
Kind of just piggybacking off of what you guys said, posting every step, every process, at the beginning, the middle, the end. I would say that would probably be the best.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and kind of wrap it up, y'all. We getting late. I see Pat looking at me out the corner of his eyes again. Look, you look sleepy, man.